Good afternoon. This is Joe Scarice, your mortgage lending specialist and host. And I'm also here with my co-host, Yardell Perkins, our social media strategist. And we are proud to say we have presented over 750 educational podcasts in the past year and a half, providing a consistent education, networking, and creative opportunities to our listeners and our viewers. And we're found on iTunes, Google Play, Liptify, and also YouTube. And we also present on Facebook as well as LinkedIn and Instagram TV. Today, we have a fantastic discussion with a licensed realtor in the state of Pennsylvania. We have Lillian Chukwueze. She's with eXp Realty. We were introduced by another fellow real estate agent who's a mentor of hers. And I love the subject that you're discussing today because it obviously falls somewhere between myself and Yardell. Utilizing social media to wholesale real estate as an investor and or a real estate agent. Lillian, welcome to the Smart Real Estate Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Joe and Yardell, for having me.
So, one, how did you find out about the Smart Real Estate Podcast? And two, give us a little background on you coming into the real estate licensing world. How did that all lead up, along with finding us finding you in a way?
Okay, so I found you guys because I had recently moved to Philly last year and got licensed and everything. And I was just really trying to understand how to break through the market with Jersey. I was living in Jersey, specifically in Cherry Hill for forever. And so my partner and I, we had started wholesaling in Jersey, and we got a good pulse in the market and what marketing strategies to utilize out there. And basically, we tried to reapply the same strategies in Philly and realized that we were having some type of friction, just a new learning curve, different type of people and everything like that. So I was just like, okay, what is the best way to penetrate Philadelphia? And I literally searched on YouTube, marketing, real estate, wholesale, or real estate investing marketing strategies. And I came across you guys, and I was just like, oh, this is perfect.
The bald-headed guys.
Yeah. So, and then in the same breath, I was actually texting my mentor in eXp Realty, Marianne, and she had told me to reach out to you for somebody who was actually, I'm working with a buyer who's looking to qualify for a mortgage. And she actually told me to reach out to you. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. I was literally just watching his YouTube channel. And then I hit you up, and then we started talking, and you told me more about it. And I was just like, yeah, this is basically how I found you.
Well, video is everything. I mean, I think people get much more comfortable finding authenticity, hearing people's voices and seeing them in their emotions when they're giving information, education, inspiration, or motivation. So I totally agree with you. So what got you into real estate?
So basically, to keep the story short, I was basically playing basketball overseas as a professional. And then I had came across digital marketing. I knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur, but I wasn't really sure how. So I wanted to become, I got into digital marketing. And at some point, basically, I learned how to have an agency. And then I realized that I always wanted to get into real estate because I had read, the typical book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, back in college. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can apply marketing strategies for real estate agents. And then in probably around the same time, I came across a video about real estate wholesaling. And so my partner and I, we kind of just dove in it head first, and we got a deal. And that's pretty much how we took off. I was like, at that point, I was like, drop the marketing. I'm gonna just do it for us. And then, and we started seeing some success, and I was just like, okay, let's just run with this. And I pretty much stuck with it.
Being a former professional athlete, you still had that competitive edge.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's all about, being in a competitive environment in a very small circle. So you got to be able to react and be proactive in your moves. Every move counts. So my fadeaway is pretty good. So I just want to let you know I could be a little dangerous at 5'6.5", 5'7" on a good day. So
hey, we're the same height.
Oh, okay. So it's all good. So it might be a little competitive. So what real estate strategies do you mainly focus on coming in the newer side of the real estate licensing part, and why?
So I had watched your video. I forgot the name of the guy who you were doing the interview with, but I had saw some strategies that he mentioned, such as, calling for sale by owners and calling for rent by owners and asking them if they're interested in selling. So I was doing that for a little bit. I was also cold calling for some time, vacant properties and everything like that. But recently, I actually decided to make a switch. So because I was the main one cold calling, because my partner still has a job. So I was the main one cold calling, and I realized that it's just really hard to penetrate the market like that. If you're not doing it a consistent, several hours a day. So you have to hit volume when you're cold calling. And not that it's impossible, but it's just not something that I personally want to do, because it's just not, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So recently I had actually just changed over to completely online marketing and just leveraging social media, because it's something that I've always been doing and it just works for me. And I believe that that's kind of where everything is heading, the digital world, especially with all like the new regulations coming into play, as far as, them getting rid of the robocalls, getting more strict with text message marketing.
Yep.
So I'm leaning more towards, I have been doing more online marketing, because all of these regulations are coming into play. People are there's a reason why they're coming into play, because people are complaining. So now that there's more and more people that are complaining about it, I think people are going to lean more towards seeking investors or seeking people to help sell their house, versus, dealing with people that are bombarding them, with outbound messages.
Well, it's interesting you're saying that, because Yardell and I, we have a social media marketing program for real estate professionals. And I think more and more real estate professionals are realizing their personal stuff definitely has to be separated from their professional. And how to properly set it up is almost an art form. And there's only so many people you want to give them access to be able to promote yourself organically through social media. And that leads to my next question. What's your favorite marketing channel, in regards to real estate?
Yeah, so definitely social media. I think it kind of plays into just working with people you already know, working with your network, reaching out to your sphere. I really, as of lately, I've been really leveraging social search engine optimization, so SEO. So basically writing blog articles, putting them online, bringing value to people. So when people search, how to sell my house in Philly, I'm the one that pops up. So I've been getting leads that way. It's definitely a slower marketing channel for sure.
Yeah,
It's definitely slower, less quantity, but higher quality.
Yep.
And I've recently changed, so it's not like I'm getting a bunch. But that's what I've been mainly doing, on top of just posting consistent content on my social media channels, which have brought me a good amount of referrals so far, mainly traditional leads. But with I don't know if you heard of Investor Carrot, but basically they help real estate investors also, get seen online and publish certain content to bring in leads for the investing side.
There's various softwares out there. I've been looking at various ones. We already, during the pandemic, it was a matter of getting your CRMs in check, your marketing and your databases in place. I'm looking and investigating some software that's out there that can place you properly in 300 plus sites. It does come with a price tag. I do see it as cost benefit, and they do it for 6 months or 12 months. I do believe in like the billboard mentality. The more profiles you have on various sites, the more that Google Analytics will appreciate, respect, and give back to you. So it's almost, I don't know if you ever traveled down along the East Coast in a car, but driving down the south of the border in South Carolina to the fireworks place, you are almost exhausted with the 162 billboards on 95 that you run into. You can't wait to get to south of the border, because you've been billboarded to death with seeing that image, getting excited about going to this place to buy fireworks. You get there, the warehouse is the size of my conference room, but the enticement was made from 1 to 162 billboards. So it's a matter of doing that over again in social media and finding various sites that you can link back and monitor on a spreadsheet, almost like a steering wheel. So I like that you're thinking that way. And that says, that leads to, why do you think what is the most important social media move for investors such as yourself and realtors such as yourself in 2021? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Is it Clubhouse? What is your jam right now that you're seeing the best? You know, you're putting some time in, you're being consistent, you're throwing breadcrumb down. Where are you seeing the birds flocking for you?
So for me personally, it's been Instagram. But I actually haven't done what you had said, which was separate my personal from my professional, only because I do believe that people need to see a personal side to you. Now, you can create a business side and then incorporate the personal side a little bit. But I haven't done that. But yeah, I've seen a lot more traffic from Instagram than any of my other platforms. Facebook has been a lot harder to reach people just ever since they changed the algorithm and everything like that. So I've kind of just been throwing my content on there, but not really expecting much. I do think LinkedIn is going to be very, very crucial. I haven't dove into it yet, but I do plan on basically reposting my blog articles onto LinkedIn to drive some traffic from there. And surprisingly, TikTok.
That would be the most surprising, because I think you're in the right direction with LinkedIn. And if you do need a LinkedIn strategist, I work with one. It was the best money spent because she got me into my lane correctly. So if you needed a little adjustment to better understand, retaining her would be very important. Have you now? And you didn't bring up Clubhouse. Are you on Clubhouse?
I am on Clubhouse. Only reason why I don't say Clubhouse is because, well, I recently kind of took it off my phone. Okay. But it wasn't by purpose. It was actually my phone had too much space and it automatically deleted. Got it. Anyway, Clubhouse is just kind of like scatterbrain. It's just like all over the place.
Well, you got to find a lane. You got to find that niche. You know, you can't do everything there. You can't it's not a grocery store. You got to find the right product in the grocery store and buy into that every time.
Right.
And I would agree that there are some questionable individuals on there, and then there's ethical, integrous, and authentic people on there, and they usually bleed through their true colors. Over time. Yeah. Then you kind of know, and you move them to the audience. You don't want them really a part of your world, and I have found it to be good for myself and my team. But definitely we should have a chat offline about that after this interview sometime, and we can discuss how I could help you on Clubhouse. For sure. Why did you decide to get licensed in a market that's potentially making a correction as we speak over the next 6 to 12 months? And what are the benefits, the pros and the cons for you from what you say?
Yeah, so I decided to get licensed for a couple of different reasons. First off, being on the wholesaling side and the investing side, you normally deal with a lot of people. There's only, 3% of the market that deals with like wholesalers and investors. So
which I think is silly. Every good realtor needs a wholesaler in their power team or more. Exactly. I would say 3 or 4, maybe more. I would even granulate it by county.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my opinion, but I would imagine you would agree as well, coming from a wholesaling background.
Absolutely, yes. So only 3% deal with investors and wholesalers. The other 97% are dealing with agents. So what I would come across, me and my partner, when we were going on all these appointments back in Jersey, and we're like, okay, most of these people want retail. They want the higher price. They say like they're willing to wait and, deal with an agent and everything like that. That was always like their back end plan. So I'm like, okay, we were trashing those at first. All the people that said that they just wanted to deal with an agent or just wanted to list it for a higher price, we were trashing those leads. So then I realized like, okay, if I can just become licensed and incorporate that side of the business into our business, then we'll definitely find a way to basically monetize all the leads that we're doing. Because in wholesaling, it's basically all marketing. So if you're marketing, and you're throwing away these leads, you're wasting a lot of money. So I was just like, okay, well, if I get licensed, then I can be the one who lists these leads because I already have built rapport with them. By the time I get to their house and we're walking through everything, I've built a lot of rapport with them. So, there was a couple of people that were like, oh, I just wish you were an agent. I was just listed with you. And I'm like, all right, well, that makes sense. So that's really why I went to go get licensed. I was like, okay, I'm going to monetize these leads. Any flips that we do, I'll be able to list them on the back end, everything like that. So there's a lot of benefits that come with it. Also, just having the credibility. I know it's pretty hard. Like for sellers to kind of understand or pretty much figure out like who you are or what you do, or just, you know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, if I'm walking in there and I'm an agent, they already know that I have some type of ethical standard that I have to adhere to. So that kind of helps me with credibility, and as well as just having another option for them as before, like aside from, you know, wholesaling, I know how to do creative financing as well. But then when I offer them the listing side, it's like, okay, you have all these options. Which one do you want? So if I go walking into an appointment fully equipped with all these things in my tool belt, then we just win more.
Love it. I think the expression comes to mind when you just gave me this explanation. You don't let a lot of sand go through between the fingers.
Exactly.
You know, and I like that. I appreciate that a lot.
Exactly.
How do you feel about the future of wholesaling with wholesaling licenses coming about in Philadelphia County and Chicago now? I think it's going to be more of a national play. I mean, it's going to be a money grab, but I think it's obviously legitimatizing wholesaling as a real profession. So what's your feelings of the future of wholesaling?
Yeah, I think they're going to continue to like make everybody get licenses. I don't see how it's going to necessarily help people be more ethical or, you know, kind of control that side of things, because if you're just literally paying money to get the yes to go wholesale, it doesn't do anything. Versus like, you know, when you're an agent, you have to go through the ethical course, and
Yep.
that still doesn't exactly clear somebody to be like, okay, well, I'm going to be ethical. The bad people are going to be bad regardless, right? So I do agree with you when you say it's a money grab. I think it's just, you know, let's let's get some money from these people that are doing this, and let's get a pulse on all the people who are doing it, because now they're going to have your information, right?
Correct. Oh, and they're going to also see what you're making. They're also going to see what you're making. So there's a taxable piece impact there that nobody's thinking about. There's a sales tax piece nobody's quantifying yet.
Right. So now these wholesalers that are making millions, they're going to be tax heavy. You know, so there's going to be different things that's going to come into place, but definitely, I think it's going to go from being able to, I think people are going to go from not assigning as much to probably double closing.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of more transactional funding that's going into place and different things like that. But I do think nationwide it's going to get to a point where they're going to make everybody have a wholesale license.
So that leads to my next question. You know, what is your long-term plan in real estate? Talking about the wholesaling, the real estate, licensing, what's the plan for you?
Yeah, so having a big wholesaling operation is not in my or my partner's long-term plan. So my partner is my brother, so we're keeping it in the family. And we never had the plan of building a big operation like some of these other guys. And, you know, whoever does that, it's fine. Our long-term plan is to basically build a rental portfolio, right? So we want to get into rentals, specifically through creative financing, like, you know, buying on subject to and seller finance and everything like that.
Okay.
We really like that strategy as opposed to just a traditional rental, but we will still have a few traditional rentals. So between that and getting into like multifamily syndication, just being able to invest in like bigger multifamily apartments, that's pretty much our play. You know, we want to build for cash flow. We don't really want to just, you know, be hopping from one deal to the next. But wholesaling definitely helps us fund all that. You know what I mean? So yeah, long-term play is just cash flow.
Yeah, I think market corrections always justify the creative part of financing, subject tos, lease options, joint venture syndications. I think that's a good play to look at over the next 6 to 18 months as market shifts, typically from a seller's market to a buyer's market, with foreclosures coming, short sales coming. So there's going to be a level of gray where there's going to be an opportunity to be creative. I agree with you on that.
That's why wholesalers need to learn other strategies, because you can't wholesale. You can't wholesale.
You can't have one soup in the stew. You got to have multiple spoons in the stew. I agree with you. And, you know, who have you learned from, and who are your favorite mentors leading up to now?
So I actually just made a YouTube video on my top favorite influencers. My YouTube channel is actually Lillian Chukwueze, my first and last name. But basically, my mentors have actually been, I don't know if you've heard of Max Maxwell, Brian and Rigboot, and the Polites. They have really been my 3 main mentors. And this other guy, you have to know who he is, Ron LeGrand.
Oh, of course.
Of course. So
I have different types of mentors, but again, we all have to have people that we look up to. Absolutely. To motivate us. So I'll let you know who my 3 are after you're done going over what who your mentors are and why.
Okay, so yeah, Max Maxwell was my main wholesale mentor when we first got into the game. He pulled us into his mastermind because we did a 30-day challenge with him and we won it. So we got to meet like a lot of other people that were doing 6 and 7 figures.
Like mine.
Right. So that was like really, really great. And that just basically helped us, take off from there. But yeah, they pretty much told me they gave me the foundation of wholesaling, and between all of those four, that's how we kind of built an understanding for creative financing. And that's why I pretty much love creative financing, especially because of Ron, because I just love his content when it comes to, seller financing.
Is the master of creative financing. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
He's timeless. And I'm going to give you 3 more to do some research for more the motivation and the inspiration.
Okay, let me write
behind all that. Les Brown.
Oh, yeah. Les Brown, definitely.
David Goggins.
I read his book.
And Brian Tracy.
I don't know Brian Tracy.
Well, you're going to get to know him, and I think between the 3 of them, there'll be new adds to your mentorship, but they'll bring more of a mentorship. What they will do to the current mentors that you're working with, they're going to cross the T's and dot the I's for you.
Right.
Okay, you already got the script. Now it's a matter of defining the script. So I'm very excited for you. And what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far in the business?
Man, the biggest lesson I've learned is very clear, is to have a focus and don't be scattered all over the place with marketing in particular, because me and my partner, we saw early success like very early on. And, when you get a lot of money early, you think I guess you just think you could do whatever. So, we started spending money on all types of marketing. We hired a cold caller. We were doing RVMs. We were doing text messaging. We were doing direct mail, bandit signs, all at one time. You can't do everything all at one time. You gotta do one form of marketing, master that, track it, understand how it works to be able to outsource that. Then you can move on to the other marketing. But with the way we did it was we did it all at one time. We weren't tracking it, so we have no idea what was working and what wasn't working. And we pretty much saw our money go very, very fast.
And it goes away real quick.
Really, really quick. So that is the biggest thing I've learned, is when it comes to marketing, do not put all your money in all these different things. Find one channel and then master it before you move on to the next. Otherwise, your money will deplete extremely fast. So yeah.
I agree with you. And so that leads to, what is your favorite real estate or business book?
Yeah, so my favorite, it's the typical Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Okay. But if you want to go a little more, different, I would say The One Thing by Gary Keller. That really, really helped me get focused on what I need to do in the business, because I was doing so many things, I was getting pulled here and there. When you're an entrepreneur, you have so many different ideas and you just want to do everything at once, and you really can't. You got to focus on one thing, allow that thing to grow before you move on. So yeah, Gary Keller is definitely one of my favorite authors. I liked him so much, I almost joined his brokerage, but I didn't. Yeah.
I get it. EXP is a spinoff of it. They're all spinoffs of one another. You know what I mean? You just got to find your lane with what office you feel comfortable with and who you're going to be mentored by. And you want to feel comfortable. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. And I agree with you that you got to feel comfortable. There's some offices that you can get lost in the sauce. There's an expression there. So knowing that, this is not in the questions, but, knowing that you're a former sports athlete, professional athlete, have you tapped into your former colleagues that were in the sports and we'll see where they're at now? Because I'm seeing more sports figures understanding generational wealth and divesting their money that they've made in the business of sports into real estate more so than ever before. Have you had conversations with professional athletes that you've crossed by in your career and talked real estate with them, and what's their take on what you're doing in the greater Philadelphia market?
So that's funny you asked that, because I was literally saying to myself last night that I need to develop a plan to tap back into my sports network, because I can be that professional that they look towards to, for the investing needs or even their primary residence or whatever. So I actually haven't. I've only kind of tapped into my general sphere, but I haven't directly went and talked to the people that, in my sports network. But I definitely have to, because you're right. Athletes are definitely becoming a lot more knowledgeable when it comes to just building wealth and investing, and whether it be real estate or stocks or whatever the case is. So I am seeing that, and I think it's great because, for so long we didn't know like what to do, like athletes, especially with their money. So now that they're becoming more knowledgeable, they need to know where to park that money at, and they know there's ways, they just don't know how. So I think you're right. I need to definitely do that and develop.
Absolutely. How long did you play in Europe? How many years?
I only played 2 years.
It's still 2 years that I didn't play basketball in Europe. So, and I didn't play for a professional basketball team. So you're already 9 times, 10 times ahead of me. So all those people are somewhere now. Maybe they're not playing anymore, but they're thinking about what their next steps are in creating generational wealth and income production. And real estate might be an option for them. So I as we're talking, I'm getting that feeling from you. And I really love your confidence, because that obviously comes from being an athlete, your confidence. And my last question is really, what is the best way to contact you for a consultation or a discussion related to real estate in the greater Philadelphia, Pennsylvania market?
Yeah, so you can contact me. The easiest way would be to actually send me a DM on Instagram. It's at Lillian Chukwueze _. I think you guys will put it in the description. Other than that, you can send me an email Lillian at ez-resolutions.com. Or just find me on socials, my first and last name on Facebook, and you can follow me on TikTok, but I still don't really completely know how to use that. But yeah, hit me up on the socials, or just send me an email, and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible. We can chat, talk it up, figure out what you need to do, what you want to do, and how I can help you. So, yeah.
Well, Lillian, I want to thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure. I know we only had some brief speakings leading up to this, but it really, you're really on the right direction and have the right motivation in place. So I wish you all the best of luck. And if obviously Yordell and I could be of any assistance on branding or marketing, whether it's you or any of the people in your power team to help enhance those relationships, we're here to earn your business and be part of your power team as well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot, Joe. I will definitely be in contact with you so we could talk a little bit more about the branding side of things, because like I said, I'm all about online. So if we could collaborate, I'm here for it.
Anytime. And I want to thank everybody for listening in, along with my co-host, Yordell Perkins of Perkatech, our social media strategist. I want to thank Lillian for stepping in here for our noon talk. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Be well, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you, Lillian.
Thank you.